All right, let's dive right in. If you're tuning into this explainer, you're probably thinking about taking that massive leap to pursue a master's degree abroad. But hey, we're not just talking about filling out a couple of forms and crossing your fingers. Getting into a top-tier institute, we are talking the top 100 QS-ranked universities here, requires a total mindset shift. You've got to stop thinking of yourself as a passive student, just hoping to get picked, and start acting like a proactive, strategic investor. Because as the data and insider insights clearly show, this is a seriously high-stakes game. Dr. Rhea Mammon, who actually evaluates these applications from the inside, literally hits the nail on the head. She points out that this is not just about your academic future, it's an investment you make financially, emotionally, as well as physically. When you decide to study abroad, you aren't just buying a degree off a shelf. You're making a massive, multi-layered investment. It drains your finances, it absolutely tests your emotional resilience, and it demands immense physical energy. So before you commit that kind of capital, you absolutely need a blueprint. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover this as a high-stakes investment, the 4 fundamentals, choosing where and when, your academic foundation, telling your unique story, and finally the ultimate game changer. Let's get to it.
Okay, part 1, the 4 fundamentals, nailing your why and what.
Think about this as the personal dilemma. Before anything else, every top-tier institute wants to know exactly what is driving you. Are you looking to turbocharge your career? Are you trying to make some profound contribution to your community? Or is this just strictly about your own personal development? A huge trap applicants fall into is confusing what's trendy right now with what actually aligns with their own long-term career goals.
Let's look at a real-world example, AI and law. Right now, everybody is rushing to study this because, well, it's the hot new topic, right? But you really have to ask yourself, why? Do you actually want to specialize in it? Are you currently working in that space? Or are you just blindly following the crowd? Look, if you have a natural inclination towards, say, human rights, suddenly pivoting to an advanced corporate law or AI master's just because the job market looks juicy right now is a terrible investment. Your choice absolutely has to stand the test of time and truly align with your genuine path.
Moving on to part 2, choosing where and when. We need to figure out your jurisdiction and timing. Choosing a country is a really complex calculation. Let's weigh a couple of variables, using the Netherlands as our prime example. The financial cost alone is staggering. One student cited in the research was paying roughly 45,000 euros. That's 45 lakhs, and that is before you even factor in living expenses. But on the flip side, consider the stay-back permits. The Netherlands offers an orientation visa, which basically gives you a full year to stay and hunt for a job if you have the financial backing. Compare that to places like Canada or Australia, which rely on totally different point systems. Plus, especially if you're a law student, you've got to consider if you're studying in a civil law or common law jurisdiction. Does the legal system of that specific country actually align with where you want to practice in the future? These are massive, massive variables you have to weigh. Now, what about timing? Applying right out of undergrad versus applying with, say, 5 to 6 years of industry experience yields vastly different results. Having work experience gives you a massive upper hand. Why is that? Well, top-tier institutes, especially in rigorous fields like advanced commercial law, involve intense drafting and highly practical application. They want candidates who already get the industry, people who bring real-world insights into the classroom and whose skills can actually be sharpened by the program. An experienced professional is simply way more likely to benefit from and contribute to an intensive master's program than a complete fresher. All right, part 3, your academic foundation. Let's talk transcripts and resumes. And it all starts with this number right here, 5. This represents the standard 5-year undergraduate course. Those 5 years in undergrad, that's your foundational investment. If you just kind of sleepwalked through those 5 years and suddenly decide you want to apply abroad, you're going to have a really hard time. Top universities look at your transcript as a literal stress test. Sure, falling in the 70th percentile or above is great, but ultimately, your transcript proves whether or not you are actually capable of handling the severe academic stress and immense pressure of a top-tier master's program. But listen, your transcript is only half the battle. Your versatility metrics carry just as much weight. We are talking about moot courts, debates, outreach activities, legal aid clinics, sports, culturals, paper presentations, attending conferences, the whole shebang. These activities show exactly how you utilize your time and space. They prove you're a multidimensional, highly versatile candidate who can juggle an intense workload while still actively participating in the academic community. Which brings us to part 4, telling your unique story. Let's look at this statement of purpose. Notice the key distinction here. A
A statement of purpose is a narrative detailing your specific drive, your resilience, and your unique value. It is definitely not just a reinstatement of your CV. This is such a massive trap. The admissions committee already has your facts. They already know your grades. They want to know the human being behind those metrics. What is actually driving you to do this specific program?
So here is a highly effective 3-step blueprint for nailing your SOP. Step 1, identify your core drive. Was there a specific childhood instance, an interaction with a mentor, or some deep inspiration that just pulled you into this field? Step 2, show resilience. Please don't just brag. Admit where you lacked skills. Identify how you recognize that gap, and explain the hard work you put in to fix it. That is true resilience. And step 3, which is probably the most vital. Explain the unique value you bring to the classroom. The university isn't just training you, they're curating a class. If you're a student from Kerala, for example, with rich local experiences that have international relevance, you need to spell out exactly how that diverse perspective is going to benefit your peers. You're bringing value to them, not just taking it for yourself.
All right, final section, part 5, the ultimate game changer, letters of recommendation. This quote absolutely shatters a very common myth. More than the person's position, it's that person's relationship with you that is important. So many applicants think they need the highest-ranking official they can possibly find, a dean, a CEO, a high court judge, to sign their recommendation. No way. From a faculty perspective, what actually matters is the depth of the relationship. A generic boilerplate letter from someone famous is basically worthless compared to a highly detailed, personalized letter from a professor who has actually taught you, evaluated your work, and observed your specific working style. So how do you actually get that perfect, personalized letter? Well, you have to brief your professor. Don't just ask for a huge favor and walk away. Give them the talking points. Here is your actionable blueprint for asking for a recommendation. Step 1, remind them of the exact course they taught you. Step 2, highlight the specific assignments you completed for them and how you performed. Step 3, remind them of specific class discussions you actively participated in, showcasing your argumentative skills and how you tackled intellectual challenges. When you give them this kind of ammo, they can write a letter that says, I've observed the student's argumentation skills firsthand, and they are on par with excellence. That level of hyperspecificity is exactly what gets you accepted. And that brings this whole thing full circle to the sheer reality of your decision. We've gone through the strategy, the resume, the SOP, and the recommendations. But before you finalize those technical details, before you tap into your family's savings or assign the dotted line for a massive bank loan, you must pause and ask yourself this fundamental question. Does your ultimate career ROI actually justify this financial and emotional investment? It is a monumental investment of your life, your money, and your energy. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. Take a real step back, think deeply about your ultimate goals, and make absolutely sure your why is undeniably strong. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.